Hello, I'm Tim Parody. I'm Program Manager here at the Center for Digital Strategies at the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth College. I'd like to welcome Steve Cassavant, who is VP of Strategy and Business Development at IGN Entertainment. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Great. So I just have a few questions for you about gaming and how the social aspect of gaming has really turbocharged, if you will, this whole industry. Tell me just in a few words sort of what you see as sort of if there is one big trend right now in gaming.
So social connectivity and using the web to extend the life of game and social communities around games is really the trend, no matter what genre of games you're talking about. So if you're talking about hardcore console games, absolutely Xbox Live, and the ability to do downloadable content, PlayStation Network, every major console is using the web to extend their game, and the social community and ability to chat live with people has been part of that. In the world of more casual web gaming, the experience of bringing in mainstream America to interactive entertainment in a new way, and especially as paying contributors to the economy of interactive entertainment, I think is what we now think of as social games that are hosted on social networks has really brought to the table. And as someone who has a vested interest in the growth and success of the gaming industry broadly, it's an exciting time.
Absolutely, and you touched on that idea of the expanding marketplace. So, and people paying for this. What do you see as sort of a big trend in monetization then for gaming?
Yeah, so microtransactions is probably the trend, but it poses challenges too. It's a double-edged sword because just as the ability to charge 20 cents and have that be a profitable proposition for the game publisher or the host of that game, at the same time the money paid per unit of gameplay time has dropped significantly. And so whereas a first-person console game that might take 15 hours to play but charge you $60 for that experience, while still a good entertainment value, it pales into comparison to the average price per user that somebody would play to play 100 hours of Cityville. And so it's increasing the size of the pie, but it's imposing downward pressure on overall I would say revenue per unit of activity.
So then how will that reshape the industry? Will we continue to see a lot of consolidation as a result of that need for scale, or what will we see?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right, that scale matters now more than ever, and the barriers to entry have risen faster in this new social gaming market, faster than they did in earlier phases of video game development. So now, for example, within the world of just Facebook-hosted games, there are about 20 game developers that have monthly average users in excess of 10 million last time I checked, and hundreds that are beneath that. So it's rapidly consolidated even before you have a publisher model akin to this sort of Electronic Arts and Activisions of the console game world to gobble up developers into their portfolio.
Okay, and that's interesting. And will you see? Do you think that we'll see some sort of shift in the way games are developed? If the barrier of entry is that much higher, will we see a decrease in creativity? Will we see any sort of silo type?
So I would say that games hosted on social networks have not yet gotten creative in a certain sense. There's a lot of stamp out the formula. There are a few basic mechanics that work, harvesting mechanics, et cetera, that get copied with effectively different skins on the experience. And I think that a big additional trend for social gaming is that quote-unquote real or complex game mechanics will be coming in, and you'll see those games look and feel more like what people think of as traditional games today, to the benefit of everyone. And certainly the traditional gaming world has gone to a Hollywood model where blockbusters are the norm and sequels are the norm.
How do we look at the model of converting early adopters and the people who are just curious into reliable revenue streams, into reliable users?
So if I could answer that, I'd be a wealthy man. But it really is a major question, and I think that there is a dirty secret of the industry that while every demographic group plays these social games. It's literally almost 20%, 20%, 20% as you go up demographic cohorts by age anyway, and the male-female split is pretty even. The paying contributors are disproportionately female, disproportionately middle-aged, and there are other groups that are really just don't have it in their head to pay for this this kind of experience, or put in a credit card for the microtransactions to be enabled. And so, in some ways that's interesting, because the group that's paying for these games is the same group that has not paid for other forms of interactive entertainment. So everybody's in some way used to paying, but for social games in particular, they have not yet created a broadly valuable proposition. It's typically about 0.5% of a given game's audience base that will pay.
Interesting. And we've seen some companies, to sort of touch on that, we've seen some companies recently that have locked up agreements over the payment methods, say Facebook credits, things like that.
Yep.
Will we see that where they try to lock in how payments are made, or will there be a tug of war over who gets to control these streams?
So they are the gorilla for a reason. Social games don't thrive on their own. There are no effective independent distribution channels, in part because of the scale they require to be successful. Right? So if you've got this world of 0.5% of people supporting the rest, and you need massive scale, tens or even hundreds of millions of users to have a very valuable social game, you need a very mass market distribution platform with a built-in set of viral channels to have friends refer friends into the game environment. And Facebook is the only game in town that way, and economically they're taking advantage of that with Facebook credits.
Interesting. Well, Steve, is there anything else I should ask you about that you're seeing right now? I know it's a broad question, but anything we didn't touch on?
Well, I think the question of how social games will interact with mobile games is a really interesting one, and I think there's an emerging view that those markets will blend. The barriers to entry are lower in mobile. There are more of those games. I think there's probably more creativity with those games, but they have not yet been able to tap into the same kind of viral channels that social games have, or to a large extent, they've failed to enable the microtransactions and the software as a service kind of model to make money over time. They're still stuck in the 99-cent app, one and done kind of economics, which don't really scale well. But I think they'll have to cross that chasm. There certainly are some games that live on both platforms. You can play Mafia Wars on an iPhone as well as on a social network. But I think we'll see more and more of that.
Interesting. Well, Steve, I want to thank you very much on behalf of the Center for Digital Strategies. Steve Cassavant, T'05, VP of Strategy and Business Development at IGN Entertainment.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.